I feel like this is the place to do it, right? Like they've picked up the Wraith King. It's almost definitely going to be in that position 1 role. So why not just pick Mizu's hero, right? You know what the matchup is, you know what support that you've got for the laning stage that's going to be able to help you out. So I feel like you could just go one of the big direct counters to the Wraith King. You know, we've seen in recent times in that Kobold's Interactive Philippines series, it was the Venomancer that they picked up to counter the Ursa. Maybe it is going to be like a Veno style pick. I like the Mars ban as well. It's one of those heroes that's actually really heavily picked by both teams. So it's a bit of a block pick coming through from Nigma Galaxy, and maybe that spear aspect could be a little bit of a counter to the Razor if that is the way that Nigma Galaxy want to go about things.
Remaining.
Obviously just giving them that little bit of extra distance away from them.
5 seconds remaining.
I want to see the Razor, man. I'm telling you, it feels like a very good Razor game so far. Wraith King's one of those heroes that you can't get super active on it. You know, you need to make sure that you're scaling somewhat. Yes, you can do things with an armlet. You can get like armlet, BKB, Blink Dagger, and be a little bit more aggressive than you might usually be. But it is essentially your win condition for the late game. And so if you're picking something like a Razor that's going to be able to counter that, then it puts a lot of emphasis onto the mid lane to fulfill that kind of role. And, you know, there's only a limited number left in the pool. They're going to go with a Kunkka. And, well, we still don't know 100% where this is going to go, but
5
Alacrity, of course, has a very good
remaining.
Kunkka.
100%. It feels like almost all the position 2s right now in Southeast Asia play this Conqueror at a very, very high level. They've almost picked up where CIS left off like a couple of years ago. You know, we always remember No One, kind of how he brought to light this double bracer Radiance type of build. And now Southeast Asia feel like they've just got player after player who's level 30 on the Conqueror. And we've really seen it a lot through the last Pro series, but for Spawn.496, go for another hero that's going to offer them at least another way to start these fights. Just another beefy hero too, and some tower taking potential. This is 2 advantages they have so far with the Wraith King and the DK that they, you know, Nigma Galaxy don't have in their lineup at the moment.
Yeah, hard to kill and good at taking towers. Right now, outside of the Snapfire, who can assist with taking towers with that little shredder, it's kind of nice, but you still do need that frontlining hero that's able to do that as the big part of their toolkit. I don't know, man. I'm still
10
feeling the Razor.
seconds
As soon as you
remaining.
see the Dragon Knight as well, it's
100%.
like, I mean, come on, man. It just feels like the
5
dream game.
seconds
It doesn't even need to be, I guess, with the Kunkka being picked up, that's more likely going to be put into the mid lane.
Oh,
I'm gonna go something different though, an Earthshaker, prioritizing a little bit more on locking down the Weaver. I'm not sure how strongly I feel about this, just because again, it doesn't help with their tower push, and it feels a little slow, and you don't want to give a Wraith King the space to be able to get the farm that he needs to transition into being that later game beast when you don't have the direct counters to it. And then a Weaver as well, hell, even a Grimstroke, right? They need items. So if you're playing passively with something like an Earthshaker, then it can open up a big window for 496 to be able to hit their key item timings that they need to take out the game.
You're feeling like this is going to be a
10
Mizu
seconds
Earthshaker?
remaining.
I can't see any other way they play it. Like Conquer 3, Snap 2, that
5
just seems a
seconds
little bit too
remaining.
crazy for them to kick off. Like I think it's more than
Snap
likely.
3 maybe is the only other thing that I can think of, but I don't know. They banned the Razor out immediately when it comes to that last phase. I'm honestly stunned that they didn't pick it up. It just felt like a really good overall thing that's, you know, you can steal the damage, you can prevent the enemy team's effectiveness. You're that frontlining presence that takes attention away from the Snapfire so he can ultimate without too many issues. And then with the stolen damage, you can take objectives. That was the big thing that I really saw there for their lineup. Not going to be the case though. So for 496, we're looking at Red's hero most likely for the off
10
lane that's still
seconds
remaining, unless they
remaining.
do go the Dragon Knight, but not 100% sure on that. They're going to
5
have to
seconds
reveal that first, of course, with their
team
last pick coming before Nigma Galaxy sees, and it is going to be an off lane DK coming through here. Probably. Unless it's going to be the Quap, which has been known to go in the off lane, but I'd say against the Conquer, you're pretty happy with this. Just with the Shadow Strike, there's no way to be able to dodge out the dagger,
remaining.
so you're always going to get a good amount of regen coming through from that, and you know even the Tiebreaker is not going to
5
bully you out
seconds
too much.
remaining.
It definitely feels like Nigma Galaxy is still needing somewhere to take objectives. Like I feel like that's a big weakness they have in their lineup right now, and someone just to funnel all the farm and scale into the late game. I want someone who's able to combat the Wraith King as the game goes on, who's not cooldown dependent. You could think
Well,
of like
the cooldown dependent thing is the only thing about your statement there that I'm like, is there anything left? Like the Terrorblade for mine,
Yeah.
I like a lot because, you know, it means a Wraith King can't go into a Radiance. Not that he really likes to do that anymore anyway, but very single target focused. All right. First game of the SEA DPC. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Would you have it any other way, honestly? I don't know.
Oh, you love to see it. You really do. I mean, it gives them a lot. I wonder. Actually, it's going to be an Ohio Weaver. Okay, so yeah, position 4. By the way, for those aware, Xiao Bonbon, that is Bombi. So we've got a lot of name changes in the Southeast Asian region. So please bear with us if we do miss anything or call someone something that they're not called anymore, because it's crazy. I would honestly say over half of the roster seems like they've had a completely new name that we're going to have to learn.
All right, so if anyone's going to pull out a Meepo in game 1 of the DPC for Division 2, it's going to be Alacrity. I mean, he knows the hero through and through. He's an exceptional Meepo player. How do you feel about it, though, this game? Like, it does look like Spawn.496 a pretty single target. I mean, Wraith King, DK, Weaver, Cop's really the only AoE, Grimstroke a little bit as well, but that's really Stroke of Fate. I wouldn't include too much else with bursting Alacrity down, and he would, like, I personally feel like the Meepo's a little bit not as strong right now in the meta, but if, again, anyone's going to know how strong this hero will be in a perfect game, it's Alacrity.
I mean, we've got Sheepstick doing the DPC now. It's a little bit of a shame that she's not here to help us from the panel with this game, because it's her signature hero, essentially, that, you know, she rose the ranks with. But I don't know. I feel like it's going to be okay with the Grimstroke up against it. Of course, the Stroke of Fate ends up doing a lot of damage. The way that I could see them potentially looking to address this as well is that you've got Ohio playing the Weaver, right? They do have a decent amount of catch, but if you're committing a lot of catch to be able to take out a position 4, then it might make his life, it might make your life on Nigma Galaxy a little bit more difficult. So if he wants to itemize into something like a Maelstrom and then the Aghanim Shard, you could still deal a lot of damage to all of those Meepo clones.
I think they just caught vision of the Weaver there, thanks to the Observer Ward on Die, so should have an early awareness of this sentry place. They probably don't want to deward it straight away, otherwise that might reveal of the at least early movement from Nigma Galaxy. I say that, Eurocam's kind of getting set up to do so. There you go, the ping's starting to come out, but again, what a game. I mean, first game, we got a Meepo coming through from Alacrity. How are we feeling about this? Any, what are your predictions heading into this game? Do you feel like Spawn.496 can go up against Alacrity's staple in the Meepo, or do Nigma Galaxy have what it takes to win game 1?
Oh, it's a rough one. I mean, until that Meepo was picked, I was pretty heavily in the 496 camp, but that certainly throws a wrench into things. Like you mentioned, they needed something that was able to punish the single target focus that they have quite at the moment on 496, and Meepo is definitely a good hero to be able to do that. But you've also got the case that your poof isn't going to be quite as effective as well, just with all of the lockdown that they've got. You know, as long as you just catch out one and continuously focus that one hero, you do have a good amount of lockdown potential there. Hell, even just with the silence on the Queen of Pain as well, with the Aghanim Shard.
How is this lane going to go here for Alacrity versus the Quap? Because being a ranged melee matchup, it can always be a little bit rough, and Queen of Pain is, you know, one of the best heroes at least being able to dominate a lane like this one. So do you feel like Alacrity might struggle a little bit? Could this be a weakness for the Meepo that they can penalize?
Potentially. I mean, the thing is, if you're having a rough time in the lane with a Meepo, you always have the luxury with that poof to be able to go back to the jungle and be able to, you know, catch up in farm in that way, and that's how you emerge on the map with just so much more levels, kind of like a TA does. But they've done a good job in making sure that that camp is blocked up, so that's not going to be the case for Alacrity. But if he's actually no, they went and dewarded it, so good preemptive movement coming through there by Nigma Galaxy to make sure Alacrity does have that way to ensure he's getting his farm when he's bullied out of the lane a little bit.
They did block up the hard camp, though, around the triangle. So Radiant, they've come into this with a game plan of looking to really shut down Alacrity's Meepo. And it does kind of feel like, though, Nigma Galaxy maybe don't have the best supports to get as many stacks up at one time. Like, it's nothing like a Grim or a Coddle that can, you know, chuck an ability out from far and stack camps multiple times.
It is a little bit different. just want to see how In Your Dream is going to itemize as well. You know, he's going into the double brace. Position 1 Conquer, not the first thing that you see all the time. As speaking up on the top side, we've got Paulson, who's making a little bit of a move here onto red, but he's doing a good job of making sure a lot of the pressure is taken off of his Conquer, giving him the easiest possible lane that he can. Alacrity just trying to get his own stacks up. Ohio a little bit slow with the rotation through, so going to deny... not going to secure that water rune. Unfortunately, it was the Vul assassin that had hit him beforehand, so he got a lot less health back than he would have liked from that water rune.
We've always been a really big fan of Mizu on the 3. Yeah, Poloson falling pretty low here. Looks like red with one more right click from the Grimstroke. We'll have our first kill of Division 2, the Winter Tour. Spawn.496 to pick that up.
You love to see it. I mean, that's the sort of play that you want to be able to start things off. Again, like 496, for a long time, you know, they were in Division 1 of the first ever season of this new and improved DPC, but ever since then, it just felt like they've kind of been dropping off little by little. They've had players individually go on to have a good performing role in other teams, such as Hustler, now on OB Neon, but unfortunately for them, just as a team, their results haven't really matched up. So to be able to grab that first blood gives a nice little sigh of relief, you know, just to know that you're not the one to give up the first death in this new season.
Now, how do we feel like Mizu's able to shine here with the Earthshaker? Because this has been a play that we've been such a fan of when we saw him, you know, come into this position 3 role. And I don't believe we've seen him on the Earthshaker. Like, I know it's been a hero that was only played as a 3 a little bit more at TI. So we haven't had as many opportunities to see Mizu maybe pull it out. But do you feel this could be in his wheelhouse for the heroes that we love to see him on?
Potentially. I mean, it doesn't feel like it's quite as active as the heroes that Mizu typically does like to play. You know, like, a lot of the time he does make a lot of things happen, but it's with quite big frequency. So, you know, the team fight ability is always there, and then he's able to just go back, you know, maybe farm a couple of camps, but then immediately go back in and team fight. Earthshaker is very different. You know, you've got this huge cooldown ultimate that you're basing your entire game plan around. You're not quite as easily able to farm safely on the map as well. Oftentimes they put Mizu in harm's way just because he's playing a hero like, you know, the Darkseer or the Brewmaster, and they're able to get to safety just through their innate toolkit. But Earthshaker doesn't have that luxury.
Does seem like a lane though where both cores are getting a decent amount out of it. Ghost, he's been solo for quite some time. Surprised actually Ohio's level 3 because he's been kind of, you know, scurrying around trying to get information down to where Alacrity's farming. And again, you're just seeing the awareness.
Mizu's gone on a little bit, and that minus armor starting to stack up. He's gone into the negatives now, so Ohio able to deal a decent amount of damage. Yeah, the reason he got up to level 3 is because he went and put that sentry ward up next to the small camp, so there was an observer ward there, so he got all that solo experience for himself.
Mid lane,
Alacrity.
Yeah, they dropped the ultimate. Alacrity. He might just tick you out. Well, let's see if the extra regen's enough. He goes for the die. Oh, it was just so close. Only 1 point in dagger, honestly. Maybe if with the extra point there, might have been enough to tick him out after he tried the deny, but I mean, you kill off the Meepo, unfortunately, you don't get claimed the kill for it though for the Queen of Pain. And bottom lane, they're on top of Ghost too. Ohio's gonna start the swing on over. Maybe a bit of a deterrent here is Nigma. Happy with trading out the resources early from Ghost, but he's definitely a hero that is pretty survivable with already 3 points and a Vampiric Spirit, so we'll have a lot of regen.
I'm liking the fact that Zillow, you know, obviously the couple of points in the Shadow Strike is nice if you're able to get the kill onto Alacrity, but, you know, clearly he's just wanting to emphasize the Scream of Pain as much as possible. He's going to be looking to get really active throughout the map, just constantly shove these waves in, and even just like he did, steal away some of these camps from the Meepo. Yeah,
I was just going to say, like, maybe going for more points in Scream, you could smoke up early, or... Because we've already seen the Grimstroke try and scout out if there's any stacks as Ghost... We'll be okay. Yeah, like the Grimstroke's already been hunting through the jungle, keeping tabs on any stacks there. So maybe this will be an easier time for Sillen just to swing on over and then potentially take them.
It's a good amount of damage being put into the mid tier 1 tower as well, about a quarter of the HP. So happy to be able to grab that when your pushing lineup at this stage isn't quite where it needs to be. Obviously, Red, he's getting close to that level 6, and well, it's not going to be around the first siege creep timing, but that'd be a pretty damn good game if you had.
Be able to kill Red. Yeah. In Your Dream is, they do have an Observe Ward at least from Radiant, so looking to put as much pressure on Alacrity as possible. In Your Dream's forced to use more of a defensive boat, just get that run buff popping. And now with the rotation for Polisan as well, they'll turn it back around on the Queen of Pain, blink on cooldown. And that'll cost him his life as Alacrity 4 points in, the poof is plenty a burst.
Yeah, all you need is the second Meepo to be able to get all of that damage out in pretty quick succession, but
Bottom lane Ghost as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what happens. You make such a big rotation to be able to counter the Quap's rotation through, but that means Ghost is going to be going down the first time. He has the reincarnation, but you always hate having it popped this early on just because it's such a long cooldown and it can punish you quite heavily.
Do you think about now sending maybe In Your Dream down bottom and just try and put pressure on the tower, or maybe more put pressure on Ghost? It looks like this catapult wave you're going to lose it, but knowing reincarnations on cooldown feels like a big window to really limit the farm that Ghost can get.
Yeah, for me, if they were able to rotate quickly enough, Mizu, by the way, he's
trying
gone on a
Mizu,
little bit here.
Benson to Brace, not leveled up at the moment, so Mizu will turn and drop a huge Echo Slam. The damage stacking up on the creeps, and now Yokam, thanks to the haste, gets there in the nick of time. A beautiful rotation should net themselves 2 kills thanks to a huge ultimate from the Earthshaker.
Oh,
Job 1 is juking through the tree line. There's no way. Okay. Oh, you get the kill on Ghost. You take it. But hey, a little bit of silver linings.
All right, let's go Bon. Can't imagine if that Tiebringer just clipped him. That would have been such an anticlimax. All right, rotation up top here from Alacrity. They're just looking to get really aggressive here. I like the fact that Mizu is, not just wanting to sit back and farm. He's wanting to connect constantly together with this Meepo. Make sure, because he is the win condition, right, for the team. So you can't just sit back and be passive. All of these rotations need to be winners from Alacrity. And so far, outside of one, they have been. Even some nice little stacks here starting to build up.
What do we feel like Radiant can do to really prevent this win condition coming online? Is it maybe the Dragon Knight converting a lot of early towers, a solid blink timing? Does Sillon need to be the huge tempo controllers we see a lot of from the position 2s? Like, what are the key points here from Spawn.496?
I'd say, honestly, all of the above. The big thing that they need to be playing around next is this 10-minute catapult wave, because Dragon form is 40 seconds off cooldown. It'll hit basically right when the siege creep hits that mid lane. The important part is taking away this jungle from Nigma.SEA, because they've got a couple of heroes that are really good at taking it, both the Meepo and the Kunkka. So if you're going to be able to take away a lot of those easy access points, a lot of those easy places where you can TP to try and save if you invade the jungle, then it's going to go a long way towards securing a win. But well, I think Nigma.SEA realizing that, they lost the top tower, it's reaching that sort of timing where they could look to make these rotations through. They're taking all the stacks already. So Alacrity took the ones inside their own jungle. He's taking the ancient stack now, so at least they'll secure that farm and not have it stolen away from them.
I think for Dire, we might see a little bit of difficulty with how they can start fights pre-Mizu Blink. It's going to be very reliant on Radiant overcommitting into like an X or Fissure, or even Meepo somehow getting in range for the ensnare. But until you've got Hookshot, of course, but if that's on cooldown, you're putting a lot of dependency anyway on a support to have perfect positioning. As Mizu, don't run up that high ground, my friend. He's going to do just that. Sillon will even rotate over just to secure the extra damage. Mizu bursts it down. Benito Dream's looking to get involved as well. Another defensive boat. Is it going to be enough to keep Polisan alive? So it looks like it'll be a 2-for-1 trade. Yokam looking to get involved as well. They'll make it work for it once again. Tide bring off the creep. He'll go for it and he'll get it. Beautifully done in Your Dream. Like we said, a 2-for-1 though, but the big kills aren't there on the Meepo. Alacrity's continuing to free farm.
He is, and this Elder Dragon form wasn't used at all to take this mid tower. That's the other downside. So yes, you did get rid of Mizu, that's great, but he's able to just respawn quite quickly and go straight on back to farming, although Might be a little bit more troublesome if he does get dived. I think he feels quite safe playing next to that tier 2 tower at the moment. But yeah, they've missed that timing around that siege creep wave. And, you know, like you mentioned before, Alacrity, he was able to take another set of Ancients. I believe it was stacked once as well. So his farm is just going to continue to rise.
Apollo, he's actually going to hookshot in. It's got the backup damage thanks to the Mortimer Kisses. They feel content with getting rid of the reincarnation. Now on cooldown for 200 seconds. There was a smoke though. Maybe Paulson, did he place any observer wards for that? No, so I guess reincarnation for it. Maybe they'll look to smoke shortly once Mizu gets blinked, but that should still take some time, and by then I think reincarnation will be back up.
All right, so let's have a bit of a look at what might next be on the agenda. We've got a couple of armlets picked up, one on 496's side and one for In Your Dream. He's also got the double damage available, so he's dealing a good amount of damage right now. You know, he's got the level 10 as well, so that plus 30 damage coming through from the talent. If they wanted to make any kind of rotations, they absolutely could. Maybe just wanting to wait for Alacrity to pick up that Blink Dagger, because him and Mizu, they're getting closer to it. And yeah, just have a look at how they are prioritizing Mizu's farm. Like I mentioned before, they've got good heroes to be able to take jungle camps, but the Earthshaker is not one of them just yet. Not quite as efficient. So just putting him in the safest spot on the map in that Radiant Dead lane and giving him a lot of farm towards that Blink Dagger. He has to make sure he doesn't overstay his welcome, though.
So how worried would you be right now that Spawn.496 aren't really contesting Alacrity's farm? Like, are they going to match maybe once the Meepo tails off as the game goes later and later?
I feel like, I mean, the Meepo does tail off, sure, but I feel like you don't have an insane scaling lineup either, right? It's not this dual farming core. A Queen of Pain, even though Zillion's had a pretty good early game, you kind of, with the way that QoP is now, if you're not having a good early game, you've done something wrong, right? Like, you've got so much more sustain for the laning stage. And while it's good that a lot of your stuff does pierce through the BKB, you always got that blink for the inbuilt movement, it just doesn't feel like they're getting enough out of the map just yet. And the only reason that they're able to, you know, sit back and farm like this is because, again, there's that safety net of the tier 1 tower that if you were looking to dive inside the triangle, you have a lot of abilities that are really good in such close quarters. You know, the Mortimer's Kisses, the Echo Slam, the boat. You don't want to be walking up into darkness, and by the Dire team having their tower there, it's just so rough.
He's coming down, looking for the blink reel. A little bit too far out here, but this definitely feels go time for Dire. Like, Blink just picked up on Alacrity and Mizu. Where do we want to aim for next? Is this maybe a smoke behind a hero pushing tier 1 mid that they can potentially bait? Do you think about maybe getting some wards down bottom and targeting your forces there?
Well, it looks like they are going to smoke up and go for a bit of a rotation, trying to maybe find Ghost on his Wraith King. He's actually looking to farm on the Dire side of the map. They probably aren't going to be looking there. They'll just see the camps that have been farmed so far. Maybe they'll guess up top, but, well, maybe they'll also just look to wait, try and bait this out a little bit here, because it is approaching that 15-minute mark as well. Should have seen, yeah, they immediately drew. They saw the direction that rocket flare came from, so immediately there was the drawing on the map, just saying, look, they're smoked here. And they should be able to set up to try and defend this, but they don't have the strongest time to be able to do this. You know, they know if they're going for a smoke, it's because they've hit some kind of item timing. So I like the fact that 496 aren't really looking to contest this all that much. They might try and make a bit of a play towards the bot side. Got the Elder Dragon form, and the Blink Dagger is up as well on red, but still just being a little bit too passive for mine.
It definitely feels like Radiant's way to initiate fights and take team fights in general is a bit of a concern. Like, Dire have an overwhelming amount of stuns and big team fight ultimates as well, where it might be really difficult for Spawn.496 to contest that once we head to the mid game, because Nigma, they're ready to rock and roll. They've hit their items, and you see how they're posturing. Paulson, he's just gonna pop the smoke. He's got some heroes in the backline as well. Beautiful coax, the place for the boat, dropping down straight on the heads of 2 heroes, and now Mizu over the top. Echo Slam on 4, overwhelming amounts of damage, and the rest of Nigma Galaxy, they're looking for the cleanup crew. Alacrity prioritizing the Queen of Pain, making sure there's no escape, and with the backline as well, Snapfire is just gonna put his body on the line to prevent any disengage, but the rest of Nigma Galaxy a little bit slow to connect, so I mean, what was looking like a disastrous start to the fight, it's somehow a 3-for-2 trade.
It's a 3-for-2 trade, but again, there was the Elder Dragon form used, right? So they're still going to be lacking that form of tower push. Ghost TP'd back, so it's not like he was farming on the other side of the map. He is going to go for that Radiant, so obviously that's going to be quite nice against the Meepo, just to take away some of that burst potential. But yeah, I mean, it feels a little odd that they were allowed to do that, right? Because you know that they were in the area previously. You saw the Clockwork rocket flare come from that area. You can probably assume that that's going to be warded up there, but they didn't go for the initial D-ward. Finally, now they do get it. But yeah, an absolute disaster, setting up for another great team fight. Ultimate coming through from Mizu. But the downside is it's going to be another 100 seconds until he's able to do it again.
Yeah. I mean, there's kind of the team fighting aspect we were just speaking about, though. Like, how are you going to be able to contest to it? I have a lot of ways to force Radiant to clump together. Like, you're not just relying on Mizu to start fights, and that's like the most ideal game for an Earthshaker, where you're not forced to be the initiator and the counter initiator.
Mm-hmm. And I was just talking about before, like, why they didn't really want to try and invade and take away some of Alacrity's farm, because it's really scary to be fighting around choke points. We saw what just happened in that narrow little choke point, right? You just clump together, you get a great cogs off, and it just sets up for a fantastic Echo Slam coming through.
All things are clicking to the moment, though, for Nigma Galaxy. Still got this tier 1 tower up, and you're against the Dragonite, you're against the Wraith King. They're playing into the late game, it looks like you were saying, Ghost building for the Radiance, but this could give a huge window, though, for Nigma Galaxy to take an early Roshan. I mean, Wraith King is definitely not at a stage where he's able to combat that, and if you get an early Aegis, your outer towers just might to really crumble.
Yeah, maybe they want to take the tier 1 tower on the top side beforehand, just because, you know, you've got some good abilities to impact the team fights. If the supports, for example, do need to buy back, all you need is the Stroke of Faith, just the Swarm if one of those heroes gets picked off nice and early. So
incoming.
Paulison, it's got to be on point. Silen is making him work for it. And you see, we haven't really felt too much of the impacts early for the quad. 1, 2, and 2. Farming up relatively well. Nothing that can compete with the Meepo's farming speed, but it's going to go for a build that Alacrity actually kind of likes to go here with the Queen of Pain. You know, the early Sungeon Kaya, BKB will, you know, potentially see like the Aghanim Shard at a decent rate. It's not this Orchid Queen of Pain that you are really reliant on snowballing kills.
Yeah, I feel like the Sungeon Kaya is just going to be overall quite useful, right? Like it seems like they're avoiding going BKBs for the most part. Like a third item BKB, it seems like, for most of them. But the Grimstroke going into the Aghanim Shard next kind of combats that a little bit, right? You've got that somewhat layer of save if a Meepo is going in on top of you. You've also got a ton of healing that's going to be able to get out onto whichever target Alacrity tries to focus on.
Good old Conquer. Love to see it. Just TP back, clear the wave, keep pushing the tower.
Ohio is just going to keep the rack going, though. And he knows that a Conquer's not able to join this. So the question for him is, well, who's going to punish me? It's not a Conquer. So how are they looking to start a team fight outside of that? Especially now that Ghost is here. But they're just going to look to trade. I would say that 496 are probably going to be happy with this, though. If they are able to get the tower, that is.
They know they're smoked. Well, top if they're caught out. Ghost under the tier 2 tower. Level 2 in the reincarnation, still without the Radiance completed, so a big power spike that they're lacking at the moment here for the Wraith King. Silen's gonna try and push them back, but still the perfect fidget placement. Make sure there's no retreat for the Wraith King, and Dragonite as well will lose his life as Nigma Galaxy once again surround the heroes.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that they were going for that, right? Because, you know, you have to trade if the enemy team's going for your tier 2 tower, and this one is higher value because we still haven't had the first Roche outside of now that they're looking to go for. So it would have opened up a big opportunity for them to take it. That's going to be the case, though. Is that a Echo Slam used just to be able to get the Weaver kill? I don't hate it. You know, it gives away the potential to maybe snipe away the Aegis. I don't know. Maybe Mizu's just getting a little bit greedy, and some of that carry mentality coming back into his mind.
Yeah, I hate as well. I mean, I was just going to highlight that Mizu hasn't really progressed too much with his farm after the blink, but You know, a kill like that is going to help out. And I just got about 2k going in the bank. Going for a pretty early BKB here. Do you like this on Mizu? Is this just more like a core Earthshaker thing instead of going like an Aghanim Shard for some utility?
I think he just wants to make sure he's not completely useless if the Queen of Pain, for example, is able to get back onto him. So you don't want to be able to just pop that and then kind of force the Queen of Pain to choose another target. And by doing that, you've maybe given the rest of your team time to be able to create some space for themselves so they're not getting burst down.
Ghost has finally found this Radiance, but it is 21 minutes in. And you've given a big opportunity for Nigma Galaxy as well. Down bottom, on top of the Queen of Pain, Alacrity and Mizu. There's the 1-2 punch they can provide across the map. It makes it so difficult for the Clop to be this mobile threat that we see so often. And now as soon as they get that pick off Nigma Galaxy, the awareness that this is a big window where we can just look to occupy a Radiance territory and really minimize how much farm they can get.
Yeah, they were wanting to play a little bit more passively, just maybe waiting for those big cooldown ultimates to become available. That's why they only really took the fights around their own objectives. But now that the Echo Slam's only about 30 seconds away, they take away the outpost, and they're looking to just get the siege going with the Meepo.
They're also setting up for Ghost. They're starting to follow him. Like, he doesn't have a game, though. Yes, he got, like, still, he's farming okay. But you got like 3 heroes consistently chasing you across the map, and I'll tell you what, the contrast between Meepo and how safely he's been farming and the Wraith King is just completely night and day. Like, Radiant have put almost no pressure on Alacrity, where it's been the opposite for Wraith King's game.
And the thing is with the Wraith King as well, just because of how relatively mobile they are with their heroes and the good catch that they've got on Nigma Galaxy, all it really takes is Polison on his Clockwork to move up towards the top side, and I think that's 3 times now that Ghost has just had to completely abandon the top side of the map, even though that's probably the safest place he could be right now. Jokev, this would be a free kill if they're able to pick it up, but, well, preemptive Fissure coming out there from Mizu just to prevent some of that aggression.
I mean, we've seen DK blink for quite some time now, and I didn't even know he had the blink. Like,
yeah,
I have not seen Redmaker play. This is an issue. Like, we were bringing up that Spawn.496 are going to need to get really good conversion with the blinks and take early towers to really diminish some of the early farm and just the snowballing that Nigma Galaxy will get. But this is what happens with a Meepo lineup. You come out ahead, you're a little bit greedy early on, you get first ages, and now your map control is just this chokehold. It's firm now.
E-Blade as well, so any target that gets found is immediately picked off. They want to make sure that they're making their plays
like Ghost
before these BKBs come up.
I mean, he's close to the tower, but Dyer's swinging on over. Mizu sets up once again. They've laid down enough damage to bring down the first life, and now Radiant, they need to react. A 4-staff getting him out of harm's way. So nice reinforcements, but you've got to be cautious. Alacrity, that's a peculiar angle into the fight. From the middle lane, he goes on top of the tier 3 tower. They'll get rid of the Queen of Pain. You've got to be cautious about the buyback, but Mizu again drops the Echo onto 3. The damage is so much for Spawn.496 to deal with. They've killed off the first life, but they got to be cautious about how deep you go. You're really inside Radiant's territory. You don't want to throw this lead you have. The ultimate's starting to dwindle. Alacrity feeling powerful nonetheless, though. It's going to continue to push Radiant back further and further inside the base. And no one on Nigma Galaxy has died.
No one's dying. They just only had about a minute left on it. A little odd that they didn't opt to try and stay and take that out just because you'd used all of your big ultimates already to try and take them out. So the AoE damage was gone. The Grimstroke wasn't going to be alive for another 20 or so seconds, but they're just going to take the safer route, continue to go back. Again, you've got the lead, you've got the map control, so just try and extend your farm a little bit further. You know, this is the DPC, not the one where you need to be taking any kind of drastic risks. Twice now, though, that Mizu's been able to land that great teamfight ultimate. It's really what he's become more and more known for throughout the Southeast Asian region as this offlane presence.
Yeah, it's never too fun recently when you're playing into Mizu's position 3. The amount of times we've seen this man turn a game completely around.
We just have to highlight this again, though, right? Like, you picked a Dragon Knight with a Wraith King, 3rd pick in the draft, I believe. And, oh, have we got a pick off here? Maybe.
Kind of fishing.
But, like, it's 26 minutes, let's say. You're still not level 12 on red. you haven't made any plays happen with that Blink Dagger, and mid and bottom tier 1 towers are still alive. Like, that is not where you want to be right now. At least now he's got level 12, but feels like you're so far behind.
Trying to get anything that came out of the map. The 4-staff Ghost in.
There's one.
Still, it's... You see how long it takes them, though? And they have to force in. Like, using that item aggressively feels so awkward when you really need that replacement out of Cogs or out of, like, Fissure for the Kisses setup. So, I mean, how close to BKBs are we? That really feels like maybe that's the one big fight we're waiting here for Spawn.496. Like, Ghost needs that, Quap needs that. They feel strong, though. Look at how they're posturing. I mean, Ghost is in the middle of the map. It'll just evaporate Polison. So 2 pickoffs, signs of life here from Radiant. They're going to X-drag him back, though, so Ghost is still in no man's land at the moment. But playing around with the reincarnation possibility, just keeping Nigma.SEA on their toes.
They're not super close to the BKBs, though, right? They're basically like one component on all of the DK, Quap, and Wraith King. So, I don't know. Feels a little bit difficult for mine for them to try and come back into this still. I mean, look at that. A BKB on the position 5 Clockwork.
He's so farm. How is he so farm? He's 71. How's he got 71 last hits, actually? He did max out Flare first, yeah.
And probably the skeletons as well.
That's true. I have seen him get a couple of nice little bounties from the shovel. He's got Philosopher's Stone too.
They smoked under the Observer Ward right then in the mid lane. So let's see how 496 are going to look to try and respond to this. Elder Dragon Form's running out. He's been using it to try and farm, get close to that BKB.
So it's kind of just in a baiting position right now. See if he can dangle one of the heroes from Nigma.SEA to heavily commit.
I was actually talking with a few people about this in recent times with the, you mentioned the Clockwork going the Rocket Flare build first. I don't hate it. I feel like it gives you a lot more net worth. It means that you can push out waves that are a little bit more unsafe to farm. And the damage that it racks up over the course of a team fight is pretty damn significant. 12-second cooldown with the talent and 200 damage over an AoE, like 1,000 damage in a team fight is pretty damn significant.
Ghost? He's actually just gonna man up right now, run straight to the triangle. Polo will pop an early BKB. They're playing very split at the moment, making sure they don't get all grouped up, but guys, exactly, that's early reincarnation. We'll have to use the defensive BKB. Ghost trying to reset the fight, but now with the BKBs expiring, Spawn.496 are going to have to look to get out of the area as Music can hold them back. Dropping the Echo Slam once again. Alacrity should have plenty of damage to follow up in our Radiant. How can they turn this back around? Meepo, about half health still to play with, but the damage is starting to lack without Ghost nearby, so they can turn. Cillian's actually going to jump in, dropping the Sonic Wave. This is a window that they weren't expecting, as Nigma.SEA heavily commit at the top side of the map. They'll lose 2 at the moment. Anything more they can get out of it, though. Yeah, Mizu will be found in the tree line. Red, he's lacking the stun, though. Unfortunately, only 3 points Dragon Tail. It doesn't have the lowest duration with that cooldown.
Well, it's another good play coming through from the Queen of Pain there, Zillern. Even making sure that he's jumping behind so that Sonic Wave pushes him a little bit further away from the rest of the team. So you might not get that cookie save or things of that nature. So good play. It felt like something that was absolutely necessary to happen, though, because, again, Red, he's had to pop the Elder Dragon form for that, and he wasn't able to get any objectives. So you didn't lose your base. Great. But now you need to actually do something with it. It's going to get them a lot closer towards those BKBs. You would have to think that after they secure some of these neutral items and wait for their cooldowns to become available again, that's when 496 are going to make their real move. Because if they don't, this game feels like it's in the arms of Nigma.SEA.
It does feel like, though, like we've seen Spawn.496 get a couple of pickoffs these past couple of fights that they've shown some prowess to maybe get a kill with the BKB starting to be picked up. And if they go for like a 2-1 trade next fight and maybe only lose Grimstroke or DK even, they could definitely take Roche. And then all of a sudden, you might delay this game by an extra 5-6 minutes, and then maybe that could be an extra way for you to go later and later to really have Ghost starting to get more items.
That's another smoke that was, I believe, under vision, given that
they're coming over. Nigma.SEA see the Queen of Pain once again raiding. A little bit split. So Mizu's gonna find the angle, just evaporates the Grimstroke. Mizu, a cheeky solo kill for him. He's got the Arcane Rune in the arsenal, so Fissure's back up. Goes completely trapped into Ohio. He's able to reposition him. But Roche is up, and with Grimstroke down for 60, this should be pretty free.
Grim down for 60, you've got the vision, so they're going to need to make sure that they make a smoke play if they are going to try and contest this, but right now, as soon as Ghost reveals that he's just farming in the lane, you're not all that concerned about any kind of team fight. Like, Queen of Pain, Zillion's been taking really good fights, but you just can't do it solo.
Alright, so we... Is this a new Ag shot?
Who dis?
Wait, what? The Meepo's Ag shot.
Yeah, the fling. It had like the...
What is this?
It has the Sven Stormhammer animation, or at least it did when I last tested it.
Wait, have you seen it in action? You want to give maybe the viewers and me an explanation? Because I did not know.
Just read what it says. You know, I feel like that's the best way to do things in Dota. It's just like hurling a version of yourself at another version of yourself.
Right. Very cool ability. Interesting. Is there no one else you'd be like, yeah, let's give the shot to them? Like, yeah, I mean, come on, Jetpack? Danog? Come on, I know you like the shards on supports. You gotta try and make a case here.
Alright, bear with me. They bait out the fact that Mizu's Blink Dagger is on cooldown, and then you, divided we stand, throw him into a team fight and use that as your initiation.
Wait, can you throw a teammate?
Pretty sure it says, fling you.
Causes that? What the heck? What is this shot?
You have to do it on a target, though. It's not just, like, on the ground.
What's the range?
So,
Oh, it's alright. 900? Okay, that's honestly not too bad. 900's pretty far.
it's honestly mostly used for the save potential, right? Like, one Meepo is getting low, so you throw him out of the team fight, and then, you know, try and use your poof to get away with the more healthy heroes.
Setting up top, Hex reveal. Oh my god, Meepo's damaged. So much for Ghost to deal with. When Ohio still doesn't have the items as well, so a BKB TP out, but Polison always trying to find the angle.
Oh, Ohio did really well there. The body blocks, making sure the hook shot wasn't able to get through. Might end up costing him his own life. I say might.
And it will. They're running straight to Cillian down bot though.
See what they're able to do.
See Yokem under the ward. The rest of Radiant also coming over, but Yokem and co have awareness of this. They have had a really good control of this game in regard to the vision. I mean, Rocket Flare, of course, is an exceptional way to scout out, but when you've always had this much map control, you can just make it that much easier to have these aggressive wards. I honestly would really like to see Die hold a gem. Like, I feel like this is still an item that is completely undervalued, and you've had so much net worth, just continue to choke them out.
True. I suppose the only downside to that is you don't really want to give that back to them. You know, when it's a 20k net worth lead, if you're able to put it on, let's say, a Clockwork, who's going to be using the Rocket Flare just to make sure he's scouting those high grounds, it can feel a little bit sucky. That essentially like a 2,000 net worth swing, right? Because you're losing 900 and they're gaining it.
Double damage.
Ghost once again farming incredibly deep here across the map. I mean,
he's got no choice. Like, just look at the dire vision, right? It's just completely cutting off any kind of avenues to move forward, even getting the plate mail.
So is this just a slow death here for Spawn.496, or what are we waiting for them to maybe look for the next smoke attempt and head outside the base and take a fight?
Good question. I mean, for me, again, it's going to be on Zillion as well as Xiaobon.
Oh, Mizu, don't do it. Echo dropped. He's got the DD damage, but the chain control's a little bit lacking from Mizu. So Klopp's going to go for a BKB TP. Yeah, will be fortunate enough. So Echo on cooldown.
BKB on cooldown, though, which is pretty significant.
They're just going to brute force up. And they've got Aegis for another 50 seconds. Try and do some works and some damage on top of the tier 3 tower. Maybe force some rotations back. Still, they know Echo's on cooldown, Radiant. See how they can hold the base. He still has to keep tabs on these Aegis. On lower and lower, but the net worth continuing to stack up for the Meepo. So it looks like he's happy. Just sacrificing the life and getting back out with ease on top of the real Meepo. Which, where is he? Okay, he's down in the lane.
He made sure to send it way back. That was the one that they were X-marking the entire time, just to make sure that if their Aegis did pop, you're not just going to be, like, lamb to the slaughter. And Mizu, even preemptively, was walking well away from that engagement. So, yeah, again, just taking away all of the vision that they've got. They're going to need to be really unorthodox with some of their ward positioning here, because if you just place it high ground, yes, it does provide you with that feeling of goodness for a little bit, but it's not going to last too long.
Smoked up. Okay, I'm only one showing in the lane at the moment. Ready, have a really good ward around the area, so this is the ideal place to take an engagement. Nigma Galaxy Southeast Asia, I believe they saw the Wraith King smoked under the ward. I didn't see any pings, but was underneath the Dire Observer. I think I really just want to see Radiant, like, that's what I'd want them to do. Like, take fights continuously around your own vision, because now, like you just said, like, you get a little bit of a good feeling when you drop the ward on the high ground, but it's going to be dewarded in a minute. So you have to get usage out of it if you're going to play that much of an obvious observer.
Yeah, you got to protect the vision as much as possible. Maybe it's just a case of, look, we just need to try and buy time just for that little bit extra. I mean, the plate mail is going to be available on Wraith King's courier again in 10 seconds. He's got enough gold to be able to buy the remaining components of it. Maybe he wants level 20 as well, but I mean, that actually could be pretty significant. The cleave against the Meepo might be the extra little bit that they need to be able to take him down. So, I'm not a fan of Ohio just walking in here. You got to give all of that experience over to Ghost.
I still fall really behind on the Aghanims too. Could be such a key item, because Dire have been pretty off the back of a lot of their bursts through the Echo.
I was about to say, Mizu doesn't go for that Echo Slam, does he? Not gonna be the case, though.
Mizu?
Ooh, he blinks away just in time.
Mizu's
He'll be able to
reactions.
BKB if he needs to, and he can also walk across the fissure. Let's remember that.
I was just gonna say, have Radiant got a spider legs? That's what I was looking for now, but unfortunately, not as fortunate with some of their neutral items. I mean, we've seen how these fissures can really put a dent in how they're looking to set up their formation in their team fights. You do have...
All right.
Some items are starting to be picked up, aren't they, though?
Yeah. AC complete. Cleave talent online. Sonic Wave, I guess, available. And, of course, Grimstroke with the Ig-Swell. It does a lot. Like, you need to make sure that this is on top of... I would honestly put it on the Quap. I would put it on Zillern and just get him to blink right on in. You know, it's only a 5.3 second cooldown on the blink. You're going to have the BKB. You're going to have the extra armor coming through from the Assault Cuirass. So you're not going to be in too much danger of dying. Plus the fact that you know that you're going to have the healing component coming through from that Grimstroke Aghanim Shard. Man, he's even got an Octarine core on Grim here.
Oh, wait. How's he farm the Octarine?
That's all he's got. That's how.
Yeah, I mean, sure. All
Let's
right.
have a look. Roche potential for respawning. It's an instant Roche.
Ooh.
It's an instant Roche.
Well, they definitely see the direction is poofed away. So they have some recognition, but Roche is still going to get obliterated. All this minus armor. Oh no, not again.
Unlucky.
What do we get? Refresher. Let's give that one over to Mizu. Let's see if Radiant stick around. They might surprise them. They got two really good observe wards around their triangle, but starting fights once again is very difficult. It's only single target initiation, and straight away scarred it out. I mean, the power of the rocket flare.
And smash the stone.
Like, if it does go that late, it's going to get even worse, right? Because Clockwork's going to be level 20. Then you've got that rocket flare true sight, so you know if they've got vision on the high ground.
You never saw me, all right?
How's he got eyes? How is he so farmed?
Clock's a good hero, man.
Oh boy. I really struggle to see how they take fights against Fissure, double cogs, double hook shot. There's just so much BKB piecing control, and also just like, you could almost call the like ground placement abilities like effective BKB piecing control as well. Just you can't reposition, like you're stuck in a proximity.
Yeah, true. Alacrity's roaming around here on the bottom side of the map with his invis rune, just trying to catch out anyone that might be trying to farm, but not going to be the case. Just brings his clones here to make sure that you're constantly pushing out as well. That's the other bonus as well, right? You've got multiple ways now to be able to take a safe farm.
They're setting up on Ghost. Ohio still without the Aghanims. He's got BKB at the ready, 4 stuff as well, but Paulison, great target prioritization. He's going to look to jump the backline, but Ghost has been unable to pop the BKB, but still, they're ripping apart the backline. 2 supports going. BKB super defensive, he just hope to get out to safety. But look at the awareness. I mean, just jump the support. Get rid of the Grim, get rid of the Weaver, and that's the best you can do. Mizu even popped the refresher for a double fissure.
Don't hate it. I mean, if it's what's going to finally end you this game, despite the fact that it's been a 90+% win probability for the past 20, you take it. Now level 25 as well on the Meepo, just wanting to go all in on the survivability. They're not lacking in damage right now. You just saw that Jokam was able to pump out so much with that level 3 of the Mortimer's Kisses.
How did he kill anyone? 4,200 health on Conker, 3,700 on Meepo, not to mention he's got Ages. Both your both your supports have over 2,200. And you're like, what's going on? They're so tanky. What is this, 4 strength heroes?
Yes, 4 strength heroes. Very, very cool, very balanced. I mean, going in for the initial part of the draft, we were thinking that it was going to be 496 that was hard to kill, but if you let the net worth differential get so far in Nigma Galaxy's favor, like they did, then it's always going to make things so much more difficult for yourselves. And you know, the tier 1 tower is still standing. This should not be the case.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the big thing we were speaking about earlier, that Spawn.496 had to put a lot of emphasis on converting these Elder Dragon forms to towers. You have to get into the jungle early and start to infiltrate. And we saw they had that game plan though. Like at the very start of the game, they were looking to place as many sentry downs and observers and really position themselves to scout out the stacks. But after that, yeah, we just didn't see any conversion after that.
Well, 42,000 net worth, 43 minutes in. I've always been an advocate of, if it's past 20 minutes and the net worth is equal to the number of minutes played, it's probably going to go in favor of that team. But 496, they're not wanting to tap out, obviously realizing that every single win, even if it's only a 1% chance, there's still a chance. Gonna look to maybe try and wait for that overwhelming blink, but Nigma Galaxy not wanting to give them the opportunity.
Trying to set up on Ghost. Force some reactions out early. Once again, they'll jump the backline. Straight on top of the Grimstroke, but they've got the buybacks. This could be the way back in for the fight, but they're going to push Ghost further outside the base thanks to the tidal wave. Now with the respawn, he's still got the BKB, but he doesn't have any extra assistance at the moment as Ghost is using this defensively to reposition himself. But the rest of Dire, they've committed heavily here. They've lost 2. Earthshaker along with the Clockwork, but Alacrity still has the Ages in the arsenal within your dream, standing hand in hand as well. The buybacks coming into fray, but Alacrity, let's see what he can do with the second round. He's going to jump on forward. They'll push Grimstroke to the western side, but the Meepo is slowly falling, and finally they'll bring down Alacrity. So 496, like you said, I mean, you're going to make him work for it. We might have a long game here, but every single game matters. They'll take it to the end.
It's a lot of buybacks though. 3 buybacks on Weaver, Grimstroke, and the Wraith King. So even though he was able to be part of that kill towards the end onto the Meepo, doesn't actually do anything for his net worth. He's right where he was prior to that fight. So, you know, still opened up a little bit of a win condition for Nigma Galaxy, despite the fact that you were finally able to kill Alacrity. The cleave was starting to come in handy a little bit there. Only far away from the overwing blink.
Oh, no. Not the gobble up. Oh, okay, I just thought that was just going to do a lot more. It is against a DK. I was just excited, you know, the anticipation of an Aghanims we haven't seen in some time.
Will they get the tower? I mean, they're still going for kills. Surely you just take this tower. Thank you.
I tell you what, though, probability, it's not 0% anymore.
Okay.
So, Danog, I'm saying there's a chance.
You're saying there's a chance? All right. I believe you.
Is it a 5% chance, though? That's...
It's
That's a
I
good
feel
question.
like it's a 2. It's gone up from 1 to 2.
Hey, you'll take it. It's getting a little bit better, at least in regards to the odds. Meepo definitely slowly losing his timing, but when you're, what, 9k ahead of the enemy's position 1, definitely feels like your timing goes a little bit later, considering you're not neck and neck in net worth.
And you've finally been able to get some of these neutral items. You know, they've been available for 9 minutes, and they just finally claimed the last 3. So, they're not the greatest ones overall. The Spell Prism given over to the Quap is nice, and looks like they're going to be taking the Ninja Gear on the Grimstroke. Don't hate it. He just needs to make sure that he's not the target of the hook shot in all of these different engagements. But there's the overwhelming blink. There's a blink dagger as well for Xiao Bonbon. So he's going to make sure that he's just staying completely in safety, and then looking to join in with that Ink Swell onto... I still want it to go onto Zilern, especially now that he's got the Spell Prism. It just provides him with so much extra layers of security. You know, you're going to have the AoE Shadow Strike. You're going to have a Blink on less than a 5-second cooldown, plus the Dispel coming through from the Ink Swell with the Ag Shard, plus the healing from that, plus all of the... all the damage that you're able to output with the Scream of Pain.
We do have some items starting to get picked up, though, like you were saying. So this could be... You know, who knows? Maybe you strand another team fight together. And Ohio, these items could kind of catch them off guard. Maybe you overcommit on one hero, you're not caught out of position, and you're almost caught with your pants down and you don't know how to reset. And they're running towards Alacrity, so... Oh, no. No. Always out.
Just in time. I mean, the base is getting pushed, and no one's defending it, so they kind of know, although Mizu is walking pretty damn bravely up into their base, considering he doesn't have buyback. Right to their base, into the jungle.
Say hello to my lesser friends.
Alright, well, Mizu's even got a refresher. Any next items we see getting picked up for Dire, surely? Alacrity's got a double Scardy. Very cool, very cool.
Just all about the stats, man. Selling those Dragon Lancers, not needed.
But they gave him the Philosopher's Stone. Interesting. Surely there's another item. Does he need more net worth? My guy is cruising up top.
I mean, he was holding a bait for the longest time.
Was he actually?
Yeah. 6
stats, baby. It's so important.
Mm-hmm.
What else would you take, honestly?
Not much.
Hey, alright, Radiant, they're smoked out. Maybe he'll take Yokam. The rest of Dire are a little bit disconnected here from the Snapfire, but he's goddamn tanky and he's got some survivability items too. 80 seconds without the Snapfire.
Pops Zilern up onto the high ground. He's just acting like a bit of an observer ward right now. Unfortunately, for 496, they're not going to be lucky enough to get that instant Roche respawn. Still a minute away, and they're actually going for a bit of a reverse wraparound here.
Ohio's going to lead the charge. He's really vital to the lineup at the moment with the Aghanim's Alacrity trying to prioritize him as well. But the Sakuchi furthers the positioning from Ohio, but now they're straight on top of Alacrity too. The AoE damage starting to rack up. With the help of the run buff, is it enough to keep the Meepo alive? They're trying to target him, but the E-Blade's not enough. Meepo's gone, but a buyback looking to rejoin the fight as Mizu drops a slam, jumping over the top on the Wraith King. They'll dealt with the first life. Alacrity back in the fray as well, but it looks like this time Nigma Galaxy Southeast Asia will clean up the team fight as they're looking to catch out the stragglers as Ghost down to the northern side. Queen of Pain on the high ground as well. Bob's able to make it out to safety, but the buyback's coming back into the play. But Paulson, perfect use of the reposition, will give no opportunity for Ghost to turn it back around, and the Grimstroke will also be killed off in front of the Roche pit.
Oh, your Dream has to be a little bit careful there. The slam nearly ended up killing him, but again, Roche respawns just as they win the team fight. Costs a few buybacks, but again, if Alacrity is able to grab this Aegis, he's totally happy with that kind of trade happening. In your Dream being the one to grab the Aghanim's Blessing, and they should be able to just walk it down and end this game, considering the buybacks previously used in that in the old fight.
Is he going Rapier? Come on, in Dream, we have it queued up. Let's go pick it up. Nice.
All right.
Nice.
He just wants to end the game real quick.
I mean, you know, Ghost doesn't have buybacks, so well, this is looking like a bit of a GG right here.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Seen crazy things.
He's just blocking off the base here, Mizu. not wanting anyone to even attempt to try and defend this.
Come on, lads, I believe. Come on, let's go. One last attempt. Oh no, Nigma Galaxy, Southeast Asia will kick off our first series with their map victory. It was, I mean, really just a staple performance for them. You get a classic hero with the Meepo and Alacrity, and he'll put work in.
Oh, for sure. I feel like it was a nice little gotcha pick at the end there. Maybe just reminding not only 496, but also the rest of Division 2 that, hey, we've got these sorts of picks that we can just whip out if need be. So, yeah, that's the sort of thing that you want to make sure that you're able to start your new season's campaign off on. And yeah, unfortunately for 496, it just didn't feel like they executed their draft the way that they needed to, particularly around reducing Alacrity's net worth so that he wasn't able to get that insane lead that he had. I mean, the win probability was favoring 496 until about the 15-minute mark, but then the longer and longer time that they spent without being able to take those towers, losing Roches, it just slipped out of their hands.
Do you feel like this could be a little bit worrying as well for other teams? Because there's always been the threat of Alacrity having this Meepo, having this cheese pick in the back pocket, and now you pull it out in game one. Like, come on, guys, this is a long season here. Now you've got this strategy heading into other games. Do you feel like it could be a concern? Like, were you impressed with Meepo? I know, I mean, Alacrity looked good, but what about the hero overall? Do you feel like we might see it a little bit more?
I mean, when you have a 40k net worth lead and you're still dying to the enemy team, it always just feels a little odd. I mean, it was really the Grimstroke that was enabling them to still have some kind of presence just with that Inkswell. But yeah, it just felt like the hero for the situation, considering how single target focused they were outside of that Queen of Pain and the Grim.
For Nigma Galaxy Southeast Asia, able to take game one here off the back of a pretty solid draft overall. We just saw how they're able to execute a lot of these fights, and again, that back pocket strat with the Meepo as well. But luckily enough, we have best of threes through all of the season here, so we'll see if 496 can take it the distance and come back and build up some momentum to head into game three potentially. We'll find out after a short break.